An Igbo traditional marriage story. The harmattan winds had begun to whisper through the mango trees of Umueziala when Emeka's father first spoke of marriage. It was evening, and the three men, Emeka, his father Obiora, and his uncle Ndubisi, sat on wooden stools in the compound, drinking palm wine that tasted of smoke and celebration. "Your mother tells me you have chosen," Obiora said, not looking up from his calabash cup. Emeka felt his throat tighten. "Yes, Papa. Her name is Chidinma. She is from the Nwosu family in the next kindred." "Nwosu?" Ndubisi stroked his grey beard. "I knew our grandfather, a man of integrity, but these days..." He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Everyone knew that Iju Ace, the investigation of family background, had saved many from sorrow. Iku Aka, knocking on the door. 3 weeks later, when the investigation had revealed no hidden diseases, no witchcraft accusations, no deaths that followed bloodlines, Emeka, dressed in his finest isiagu, the traditional lion head patterned cloth his mother had woven for him. His father carried a keg of palm wine, and his uncle held a bottle of schnapps and kola nuts wrapped in fresh leaves. They arrived at the Nwosu compound at the exact moment the afternoon shadows grew long, a sign of respect. Chidinma's father, Elder Nwosu, received them in his obi, the reception hut reserved for important visitors. The kola nut ceremony came first. Elder Nwosu presented Oji to welcome them, and Obiora reciprocated with his own. An old man from Chidinma's Umuna, the extended family, prayed over the nuts, breaking them with deliberate care. "He who brings kola brings life," he intoned. "May this union be blessed." Then came the proverbs. Obiora did not simply say, "We want your daughter." Instead, he spoke of ripe palm fruit seen from afar, of a stream whose waters ran clear and sweet. Elder Nwosu responded with equal subtlety, mentioning that many fruits hung from many trees, that not all streams were safe to drink. Finally, Chidinma was called. She entered wearing a simple wrapper, her eyes downcast but her back straight. When her father asked if she knew Emeka, she said, "Yes, Papa," in a voice like distant thunder. When asked if she consented to further discussions, she said yes again, and Emeka's heart became a drum. They were given a list, not a short one. It included items for the Umuna, for the women of the kindred, for Chidinma's mother, Ego Nini, the mother's money, recognition of the labor of raising a daughter, Ime Ego, the bride price. The negotiation happened on a Saturday when the sun sat heavy in the sky. Emeka's family returned with yams stacked like yellow towers, with crates of beer and soft drinks, with tobacco and snuff for the elders, with a goat that bleated plaintively in the corner. The money itself was small, 40 naira, symbolic. When Elder Nwosu received it, he took 2 notes and pressed the rest back into Obiora's hands. "I do not sell my daughter," he said, his voice carrying the weight of generations. "I give her to you as a companion. Let your son care for her, or this money will return to him when she returns to us." Chidinma's mother received her Igoin with tears in her eyes, remembering the night fevers, the first steps, the day her daughter's blood first came. She gave Emeka a long look, assessing, warning, blessing all at once. "Before we continue, please tell us your city. Igbos in the house, tell us if we miss anything. Let's dive back in." Igba Nkwu. The wine carrying. The wedding day arrived with the full force of dry season. The Nwosu compound had been transformed. Canopies of colorful cloth shaded rows of plastic chairs. The Ojin music group, their metal gongs and drums, created rhythms that made the earth itself seem to dance. Emeka arrived with his people, but at the entrance, a rope blocked their way. Chidinma's friends, the Umu Agbogo, stood guard, demanding transport money to fetch the bride. Emeka laughed and sprayed naira notes until the rope was cut, and he could enter, wearing the traditional cap Chidinma placed on his head, accepting the beads she looped around his neck. The first time she emerged, she wore coral beads heavy on her neck and waist, her wrapper tied above her chest in the style of maidenhood, her hair crowned with ichafu cloth. She danced with the asubi, her chosen attendants in matching attire, and greeted the guests, her feet barely touching the ground. But the true marriage had not yet happened. When the sun began to descend, Chidinma disappeared into her mother's hut. She emerged transformed, now in the lace blouse and George wrapper of a married woman, her head tea elaborate, her steps measured. The crowd hushed. Her father held a calabash cup, Iko, filled with fresh palm wine. He spoke to her formally, restating Emeka's intentions, reminding her that this was a choice before God, ancestors, and the living. Go, he said, and find the one you will follow. The Ojin players struck a different rhythm, suspenseful, teasing. Chidinma moved through the crowd, the cup covered with her hand, her eyes scanning. Men called to her, uncles joking, young men pretending, guests trying to confuse her path. She danced past them all, the wine steady in her hands. Emeka had hidden near the elders' section, his heart hammering against his ribs. When she saw him, her face opened like a morning glory. She knelt before him, the dust rising around her wrapper, and offered the cup. He drank. The sweetness of palm wine, the slight fermentation, the taste of her choice. He's placed money in the empty cup, new notes, crisp and significant, and helped her rise. Together they walked to her father. Together they knelt. Elder Nwosu placed his hands on their heads and spoke words older than memory. What God has joined, let no one put asunder. What the ancestors have witnessed, let no one deny. Go in peace and bring forth children who will remember us. Then the Umuna elders came forward, each adding their blessing, their warnings, their hopes. Idu Ulo, the handover. That night, when the drumming had softened to a heartbeat and the guests had eaten their fill of oha soup and pounded yam, Chidinma's mother led her to the threshold. Her luggage, new clothes, cooking pots, the sewing machine her father had gifted, sat packed and waiting. The Umuna women sang songs of departure, of the girl becoming wife, of the bridge between two homes. Chidinma's mother washed her daughter's feet one final time, the water warm with herbs, and then Emeka's mother stepped forward. She offered onju, white chalk, marking Chidinma's forehead, her wrists accepting her into the new Umuna. My daughter, she said, and the words contained multitudes. They walked to the car through a tunnel of family, through showers of rice and prayers. Chidinma did not look back. In Igbo land, a bride who looks back shows doubt, and she had none. She had searched and found. She had offered and been accepted. Behind them, the compound slowly emptied, but the kola nut shells remained, broken and blessed, the evidence of a union that began with questions, continued with negotiation, and sealed itself in wine, in witness, in the eternal rhythm of Igban Ku. In the weeks that followed, Chidinma's parents would visit her new home, Imata Ulo, to see that she was well, to bring more gifts, to sit with their daughter as she learned the geography of a new kitchen, a new bed, a new name. But that is another story, as all marriages are. Not one day, but many. Not one ritual, but the daily practice of choosing each other again and again, like wine offered and accepted, like blessings spoken and remembered.